AV here, and I was talking to a gentleman earlier, and he couldn't make a decision. You have to make decisions. You have to be decisive. You've got to make major decisions, and sometimes you just got to make small decisions. It can be a yes, it can be a no, and but a maybe is not a decision. That is just you're putting it off. You've gotten used to this. It's become a habit, and sometimes you've got to break a habit. You got to break the habit of indecisiveness because you're not sure what to do, and so you don't make a decision. And the problem is it becomes a habit, and then it becomes a problem later on in your life. And it might be that day, the next day, sometime. So you've got to make a decision. You got to get in the habit of making decisions. And everybody wants to make the right decision, correct? I mean, that's the biggest thing is everybody wants to make the right decision. You're scared to make the wrong decision. So that comes from an emotion. That comes from a past experience. And so you've got to be aware of that. And so once you're aware, you have to create this awareness within yourself to know why you trigger these emotions. And this particular one where you're not making decisions is probably based on fear. And because of either the unknown or your past experiences. And in sports, if you think about sports, in baseball, and you're up to bat, you got to make a decision instantly. You've got to either know I'm swinging, I'm not swinging, and at the right moment, you've got to make a decision. And guess what? Boom, you made a decision, right or wrong. It does it one way or another. And same thing if you're playing basketball, they pass you the ball, and you got the ball. You're dribbling down. You see the goal, and you're looking at it. You got a decision to make: shoot or pass. If you're a coach and your players are out there playing, and all of a sudden you find yourself that you need a couple of more yards to go, but it's fourth down. Hey, you got to make a decision. Either go for it or punt it. Either way, you've got to make a decision. All this thing about, putting it off and getting ready, those are habits. Get rid of those habits. Grab a hold of your emotions. Know where they're coming from. Be aware of it. And then make a decision. Be decisive. Make things happen. So today, think about it. If you're in a city or you're in somewhere where you're walking somewhere and you're crossing the street, guess what? You're making an instant decision right then when you're going to cross that street. So those are small achievements every day that you're making these decisions. And guess what? It's not always going to be correct. And so I'm not talking about when you're crossing the street, but what I'm talking about is, you always want to make the right decision, and everybody's always worried about making the wrong decision. So don't worry about that. Make the decision and then move on. Correct it if you need to. There's been plenty of businesses, especially, I started a franchise business years ago, and within a couple of years, I was like, okay, we're done with this. We are done with this. And I made a decision, and it was pretty quick. It wasn't like, I didn't let it string out very long at all. Once I looked at everything, I looked at the books, I looked at the opportunity, the past experience and everything, and I said, it's just not worth it. I weighed out the possibilities. I looked this way, I looked that way, and I said, broken arrow. And I went in there and closed the doors, locked it up, and took my losses. Licked my wounds, healed, and moved on. So guess what? Every decision may not be the correct decision, but you make it right, and you move on, and you become aware of your emotions. So take care. Again, right today, Write down those small achievements so that you change that habit of not making a decision. Make every decision. Do not make any maybe decisions. So today, look at yourself and say, did I make a decision, yes or no, on all my stuff today? And as you go through the day, be aware of decisions you're making or you're putting off. Find out what your habit is. Are you putting things off? Write that down. Be aware of what you are putting off because you are indecisive, okay? And so the goal is to be decisive. The goal is to make a decision, yes or no. Just go ahead, yes or no, and get it done. Don't put it off, okay? So that's today's assignment. See you soon.